Hi, everybody. My name is Ralph. I am here with my good friend, Chris. We are here to talk to you about April being Testicular Cancer Awareness Month. And we're really, really excited because Chris and I have both been talking about this for a very, very long time. And we just want to give a quick shout out to Team Cancer America for allowing us to use their platform to get our stories out there and just being able to talk to you guys.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chris. I'm from Corona, California. And like my friend Ralph was saying, I am super excited to be here and to be sharing my story and my journey. Thank you, Team Cancer America. You guys are awesome for this because like he said, we have been talking about this for years. And this is really a dream come true to be able to do something like this.
Yeah, we also feel like other cancers in other months really kind of overshadow literally every other cancer in every other month. We're looking at you, breast cancer. So cool it, all right? So here we go. My name is Ralph. I am 28 years old. My right testicle tried to kill me 14 years ago. And this is my story. So at the time I was in that second half of 8th grade, I started getting really bad body pains, but the main focus of my pain was my right knee. And it got to such an extreme point that I couldn't even walk or stand or bear any weight on it without it feel like it was just literally, my leg was literally gonna break off. So I went and saw my family practice doctor maybe about 12, 14 times in the span of 2 years. He never laid a hand on me. He said, it's growing pains, you're going through puberty. You're a big boy. I mean, I've always been a big kid. He said, you're a big boy. You got to lose some weight. You'll be okay. Do exercise. You're going to be fine. And that was until one day I actually, the pain was so extreme, so bad that I missed school for 3 days in a row. And that's when my mom was kind of like, yeah, something isn't right. So she took me to this really, really sketchy side of town where she knew of a private practice clinic. And so we went in and we saw the doctor, and the doctor gave my mom a prescription for us to take to the nearest hospital for me to get a CT scan done. We get the CT scan done. At this time, it's sometime around midnight. I actually get told that I have testicular cancer sometime at like 3 a.m. I'm transported to a small local regional hospital that had a tiny, tiny pediatrics unit. I went through my treatment there. Originally I was supposed to go through 4 chemotherapy rounds, but at some point during my treatment, my oncologist had spoken to other oncologists in the area, and they had all agreed that I should get my rounds bumped from 4 to 6. So I ended up actually doing 6 rounds of chemotherapy. And fun fact, I actually finished my last round of chemotherapy about 3 weeks before my freshman year of high school, my first day of freshman year of high school. And I made the decision that I wanted to go to school looking and feeling sick. So all of freshman year, I was the weird kid that looked like death, and everybody knew that little bald kid that didn't fit in anywhere. So that was me. What about you, Chris? Tell us about your story.
So my first symptoms started actually with some back pain. So I was in a lot of sports though. So I was in soccer and track before my diagnosis. So I thought all the back pain was from that. So it took me 6 months to actually go to the hospital and get checked. Even my testicle at the moment was also getting enlarged, but I thought it was just puberty. And, you would tell your friends, and my friends were to be like, oh, Chris, he has big balls. And it was like really funny because I was in track. So, you wear those tight shorts and everybody be like, oh no, Chris.
And you still wear really tight jeans,
yeah,
my friend.
They're really, exactly. They're really tight. So everybody knew as
dangerously
Chris.
Tight.
Everybody knew as Chris, with like that. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm this cool guy, And then it was my junior year, and I was in summer break, and my back pain just started getting worse, and it got worse. And then at some point I couldn't even put on my socks anymore. I couldn't bend down and put on my socks. So I decided to go to the ER. and I went to the ER, and I still didn't even think of it like as, you know, cancer. I was just like, my back hurts. I need to get to check that was like maybe a disc moved, a tendon, something. So I'm there at the hospital, and it's a regional hospital, so it was like a 4 or 5 hour wait. And I'm sitting there, and the doctor does a physical check on me, and then he's all like, your testicle is abnormal, so we're gonna have to do an ultrasound. So I still didn't even think like nothing of it. I was just like, I thought that's what pregnant people get, you know, ultrasounds. So yeah. So he takes me to the room. He's doing the ultrasound. He's like checking like my kidneys and my like over here, all this chest area. And I'm still like, this is really weird, but he's the doctor, so it makes sense. And they check my testicle, and maybe like 30 minutes later, even like, this is how clueless I was. I went up to the like nurse station, and I was like, how long is this gonna take? Because I have to go to work. It was my summer break. Doctor comes out, and he pulls me into the room, and they really are a little bit heartless. So he sits me down.
Yeah, adult medicine sucks.
Like, yeah, they're not like, oh, I'm so sorry. He was just like, nobody really likes to hear this, but you have cancer. And I was
just like that?
Just like that. Like, he didn't even like, my mom was right there, like no sugarcoating it, no warning, just, you have cancer.
How old were you?
Oh, I was 16 years old. And when he said that, the first thing I think about is the movies. So, because I knew nothing about cancer, so I was just like, I'm gonna die. I start crying. He opens the door to a room, and he's like, this,
cry in here,
cry.
please.
Yeah, he's all like, he's like,
don't get my machine wet. Please cry in here.
Basically, yeah, he's like, we have more patients here. You can cry in this room with your mom. So I'm in the room crying, and the time passes by like 30 minutes. I still can't believe it. He escorts us outside, and he tells me that he's gonna refer me to a good doctor. So I was like, okay, I was still in shock, didn't really like believe it, what was happening. Until that was on a Wednesday. The next day we went to the doctor, the professional, he said, and we went into his office, and he had already looked over like all the details that the Corona Regional Hospital has
sent. The professional, you mean?
Yeah, the professional. He had already looked. He had already looked at all the details and everything, and he basically starts like sharing with me. He's like, he shows me the ultrasound, and he's like, you basically don't have a testicle. He's like, all it is a tumor and cancer. He's like, how long did you wait for this? And I was like, well, my back started hurting 6 months ago, but I didn't like, put 2 and 2 together. And, he starts like scolding me about waiting for 6 months and whatnot. And he's telling me how it's really bad, and that I need to get
knowing surgery. You're still really bad at going to the doctor even now. So it makes sense. The story holds true.
Doctors and Hispanic people are not trying, it's just not, we don't really go. But he, started like telling me how bad it was, and how I needed surgery immediately, and just all these things. And I'm believing it. Now I'm really scared. And then after all of that, he just tells me like, yeah, but not with me, because you have Medi-Cal and IHP, which is like, government
issued insurance.
Yeah, government issued insurance. So he's like, so I can't help you, but I can refer you to another doctor in Moreno Valley. So you got to wait for about a week. After he just told me that I needed
that waiting was going to kill you.
Yeah. So I'm just sitting there like, like, what? And he's like, yeah, you already waited 6 months, so you can wait another week.
One more week. One
word for word is what he said.
Probably won't kill you.
Yeah. So my parents weren't satisfied with that, so they decided to take me to the Children's Hospital of Orange County, which abbreviated CHOC. There they re-diagnosed me at the ER. And that same night, that Thursday night, they took me in, they admitted me into a room. Literally, that was a Thursday night. On Saturday, I was already getting surgery to remove the testicle and put in a portacath. And I still I'm 17 years old, summer vacation, getting ready for I still don't even know what's going on. And then finally they started talking about they did the surgery and everything, my recovery. And on 4 or 5 days from then, they sat me down in a meeting where they told me about the treatment plan. And that's where they told me that I was gonna be receiving 4 rounds of chemo, I think is what you said. I got 4 rounds of chemo is what they told me, yeah.
Okay.
So I started with the chemotherapies, etoposide, bleo, and cisplatin, which is I think that's like a common 3 chemotherapies
Yeah.
that we get, right?
Yeah,
You got
two of those 3 sound very familiar to me, so I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the 3 that I got. Halfway through my treatment, I was allergic to the first stage of etoposide, where I had an allergic reaction where my heart rate went really high up and it just felt really hot in my stomach. After that, I just really don't remember. I woke up the next day and I was okay. So I don't know. Yeah, I think I think at some point I probably blacked out. I remember like some doctors rushing into the room, and then from there I woke up.
Just don't remember anything.
No, because I remember we were talking about eating a quesadilla with my parents. My mom was gonna go to the cafeteria to get me a quesadilla, and then everything just happened like a few seconds. I remember the doctors rushing in, and then I woke up the next day.
What?
Yeah.
That's wild.
It was, yeah. So that was my allergic reaction. They just kind of lowered the dose down, but I kept taking the etoposide, bleo, and cisplatin, and it was the same. I told them I was fine, so we kept the same 4 cycles going, same routine.
Okay.
1 week of chemo, 3 weeks off.
Oh yeah. So that was my next question for you. How was your treatment done? Because the way I had it done was, I was inpatient for about 5 days. I received my chemo those 5 days, and then on the 6th day I was set to go home, and then I was set to return 28 days later for the next round. Is that something how you did? Okay.
So basically, it was the same thing. I had 5 days of chemo, and then I would go home and then come back and get another 5 days. I had 4 rounds like that of chemotherapy. And how many surgeries did you get?
So I only got 1 surgery. I got the testicle removed. I'm sorry, I'm blacking out a little bit. So I was actually, today being April 1st, actually yesterday, March 31st, marked my 14-year of being diagnosed. So that's why I'm trying to figure out all the dates. But yeah, no, I was diagnosed on March 31st, and I think April 2nd, that's when I got the testicle out. And that was that surgery also included getting my port placed in, and the port didn't work very well, so they had to put me on the other kind of port, the dangly one, the tubey one. I forget the name of it all the time. It's been 14 years and I still can't name it. But the tubey one, dangly one, that one worked perfectly, and so that's how I got my treatment. Yeah, it's a Brobiac. Thank you. It's a Brobiac. Yes. Yeah. So I got the Brobiac put in the same time that I got the testicle out. So
nice. Yeah.
So that was the one and only surgery that I got. Did you get an additional surgery or?
Yeah. So for me, I had that one. The same. So I got my left testicle removed though. So just
ball buddies.
Me and Ralph actually go by ball buddies. On my contacts, I have them as my other nut with the little heart on it. So that's our bro romance right there. And but out of that surgery, I had 2 other ones. So I had tumors in the abdomen as well. I had 5 tumors in the abdomen where doctors didn't conclude though if it was part of the cancer. They were already there. But I did have to get that surgery. That was a 13-hour surgery to remove those tumors. Thankfully, they were all benign. So after the treatment was done when I started treatment of testicular cancer, I got the surgery after that, and they were all benign, so I didn't have to continue treatment anymore.
So the doctors don't know or didn't know at the time that those extra tumors that you had in your abdomen, if they were metastasized from the testicle, right?
They don't. They were just there. When I got the CT scan done at Chalk, because I didn't get it done at Corona Regional, they did it at Chalk. They saw the other tumors there, and they told me about them when I was there at the hospital, and they were benign. All of them were benign, so I didn't have to continue treatment after that surgery.
Additional treatment for that. Okay.
Yeah. So if they were positive, I was gonna have to continue treatment, a new treatment. They were gonna have to give me a new treatment, but they were all benign. So that I ended treatment there, and I ended everything there with that surgery.
Okay, so I think it's really interesting that you bring it up, because for me, when I got my first CT scan done, the doctor said that the major part that lit up in the scan was the groin area, obviously the testicle. But he said that there was also there appeared to be other tumors throughout my body. So like I remember he mentioned that I had a tumor the size of like a finger in my right lung, and like a pepper ring of other tiny little tumors on the lungs. I had pea-sized tumors on my liver. I had one particular tumor that was in the little pathway between the kidney and the bladder. There was one tumor that was blocking that that tube.
That tube.
That piss.
That makes
tube,
sense. Yeah.
So at some point I had to get a catheter put in just to be able to help that pathway open up, and I could pee okay without having any retention or any other type of issue. So thanks to that, another fun fact, thanks to that expansion that I got in that particular pathway, one of my kidneys is a lot bigger than the other one. I don't know which is which. I don't remember, but thanks to that, one of my kidneys is a lot bigger than the other one.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you find that kind of stuff cool.
Yeah, actually, after the last surgery that I had was 2 years after I became after I was in remission. Okay. So 2 years after that big surgery, I started having throughout the years I had a lot of testicle pain on the testicle that was left on my left testicle, and when I would run, when I would try to exercise, or if I was standing too much, it would just hurt a lot. So 2 years from then, I find out that my testicle was actually twisted, and there was hydrocele fluid in there. So it would get, after a while of standing up, it would enlarge, and then it would hurt, and the pain would actually go down all the way to my feet. It would hurt all my entire leg would hurt. So I had to get, it was like a 30-minute surgery for that. I had to drain out the hydrocele fluid and get the testicle flipped back to how it was supposed to be. But I did have that happen as well.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't remember having any other post treatment issues.
Yeah,
I mean, there was stuff that came in down the line, which you're gonna be talking about in a minute. I actually met Chris through an AYA from the same children's hospital that we were treated at, and his name was Freddie. He passed away a couple of years ago, but he really wanted me to be introduced to Chris because he was a newly diagnosed patient, and he just kind of wanted someone to talk about the process with. And I'm gonna leave this part up to Chris because he remembers things a lot differently than I do. So Chris, go ahead.
All right. So Freddie, when I met him, he was just telling me how he's like, yeah, you might lose your hair, it's gonna go back. And then he started mentioning how he knew a guy that also had testicular cancer. And he's like, and he asked me if I would like to meet him. So I was like, yeah. And then Ralph came the next day, I think, and he sat down and he talked to me, and he was talking to my mom. That was a day before my surgery, so it was on Friday. So the next day, Friday. And Ralph, he's talking to us, right? And then he's all like, the next day he's like, I'm gonna come back tomorrow. Do you want some In-N-Out? So I was like, oh yeah, I would love some In-N-Out.
We're Californian, don't hate on us. We like In-N-Out.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I love some In-N-Out. He's like, yeah, because after your surgery, they're not gonna allow you to eat, burgers or that many things. So he's like, so what's your favorite? So I was like, he was gonna pay for it. So I was like, I'll get a double. animal style, strawberry shake. And he really did come and like bring me all of that. Later we find out that he was actually there to visit somebody else, but he brought me some In-N-Out anyways. So we ended up
I was actually visiting
friends.
that other patient, Freddie,
Yeah.
and I was getting him food, and it just so happened that they were both like neighbors, and
so he had to bring me. He couldn't bring just one guy food.
yeah,
you know?
exactly. Especially my newly found ball buddy. Are you kidding? Like, I felt it right there, man. I was like, this is my guy.
One of the things that stuck one of the things that stuck to me and my mom my mom always throws it at him too, is that after my surgery, he was there. We didn't even know this guy, and he was there. He was supporting my mom. He was waiting for me to wake up after my surgery. Like, he really was a great guy. Is a great guy.
Thank you.
He's talking to my mom though about his treatment and what he went through, and he, accidentally throws in there. He's like, yeah, in the treatment that your son is about to get has a 10% chance of getting leukemia, and I actually got it.
Yeah.
So he throws it. Rob, I don't know if you want to say something.
Granted, so granted, let me defend myself for a second.
Okay.
You were the first patient that I ever mentored.
Okay.
And not in a million years did I ever think I was going to be a mentor for anybody. And so I think it was just word vomit, trying to have the conversation keep going. And so in my head, I'm just going to let everything out so they know everything. And so I think that's kind of where I crossed the line. And I was like, yeah, I shouldn't have said that. I got to go. I'll be back whenever, if you have me late. And I think I left maybe like 5 or 10 minutes right after I said that, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really screwed that up. But yeah, here we are, right?
Yeah, here we are. I 5 years passed. No other secondary treatments.
Brother, you beat
I know, right?
I guess that for teen fertility is not, high in the priority list.
Right.
They said that I shouldn't have any issues with one testicle. And they said,
that's
hey,
what they told me.
Good luck with future endeavors. Like that was it. Like, they didn't talk to me about fertility or, freezing the sperm or doing anything of that sort that I know. Other people got as an option, being older, right. and generally. But did you get talked to about fertility?
Yeah, so I actually, right, like before I even got the surgery, they told me about the fertility. Maybe because I was already like 16 turning 17, and I was sexually active at the time, so they did tell me about the fertility, and I did do it. So I had my the sperm frozen for until I had kids. So I had it for like 4 years, I think. Okay. So the first couple of years, there's a program where they let you keep it there for free. And then you got to pay after a while to keep them there.
Okay. And how much was that cost? Was it monthly?
I think my parents were paying for it. So I roughly, I got to say like $100 or a little bit more for the whole year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there was like programs. So you could do like monthly or half of the month, half of the year, or the whole year. They have like
I know, because speaking with other AYAs within our group, they did the freezing of the sperm, and for other the friends that we know, it's been a lot more expensive. So I think that's
okay.
that was a steal for you.
I'm not sure that maybe it was more, like I said, my parents were paying for it, so I really didn't have to worry about.
Right. Okay.
They didn't tell me either. Like, they were just kind of doing it for that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
After I had. So when I actually lost one baby, my wife was pregnant, and we lost the baby. And so after that, I really wasn't sure if I was able to have kids. So it was kind of like a downfall. But then I had 2 kids. So one testicle did work great. It was just her system, like problems and complications. So I got tested again, and everything was great. I had 2 kids after that. I have a girl and a boy now. So everything is going really, really well. Should I call them kids or crotch goblins, Ralph? I don't know.
I'm gonna say crotch
Just kidding.
goblins. You know
I'll
that.
call them kids.
I'm 14 years out of my testicular cancer diagnosis. I am 28 now. I actually work for a nonprofit called Tilly's Life Center. We have social-emotional learning curriculum. So that's basically, in super simple words, emotional intelligence and soft skills. That's the best description I can give you. We take our content and we go to high schools, community centers, children's hospitals throughout the Southern California region. And as we speak, we are actually expanding nationally. So good for us. Pat on the back. And so I've been working with this organization for, I think, about 8 years now. And it's been a dream. Right before I was diagnosed with my second cancer, I was actually in school, highly considering becoming a high school teacher of whatever subject and just being able to work with that demographic of kids within the high school setting, just because their energy and they're learning a lot, and that's when their character starts to show, and that's when they start growing as people. And so when I got sick with cancer the second time, I kind of had to drop out and do all these other things. So somehow life gave me this opportunity to work for this amazing nonprofit, and I've been doing what I've always wanted to do with the people that I always wanted to work with. And I'm not educated, so beat that. Anyways, other than that, I have a cat. I know that you have 2 crotch goblins. And with that,
I also have a cat.
You have a cat now? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh,
You have to send me pictures.
Yes.
So with all of that being said, where are you now?
So I am now 6 years cancer. So 5 years. They call it remission for 5 years. So technically, so now I'm 6 years cancer free, you could say.
Awesome.
I went to culinary school. I actually have a dream of opening a cafe once. I do bacon and pastry. I'm currently working in sales I sell jewelry. Honestly, I love that job. If anybody knows me, and I don't know if you guys can tell in this video, I love talking a lot. So
he's a people person, in other words.
Yeah,
he's a people person.
That job just, I talk to all sorts of people all day, and I love it. I love doing sales. I also love baking and pastry, though. I do have 2 kids.
That's one of his crotch goblins behind him.
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah, I kind of became really independent when I turned 19. I had kids really young. I'm only 24 years old. So, yeah, I love it, though. I love my kids. I love that I had them young. I hope to one day open a cafe or a restaurant. That's my future goals.
We'll keep you guys posted.
We'll keep you posted. Yeah. Yes, because definitely. So before cancer, I was oriented in opening just any type of restaurant, but now I'm oriented and wanting to open something where people with cancer, feel more comfortable and coming in and like talking and meeting other patients and all that stuff. So I'm more oriented in going in that way. So
that's awesome.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Yeah, because it's going through the stages, you can tell that it's really hard to get out of your room or to like even go out and talk to someone that you have cancer. You feel like they don't understand you, like they don't get what you're going through. I wish I would have been more involved, you could say. So when I was going through my treatment, I was just focused on being in the room. I was in my room all day just gaming. I really didn't want to go out and talk to anyone. I just wanted to get through my treatment and go home. So I wish I was a little bit more involved, because when I got more involved, so I met the leader of the AYA program at Children's Hospital of Orange County. She started kind of dragging me out of my room. So,
shout out to Kara.
Yeah, shout out to Kara.
In Cancer America. She's awesome. She's doing great.
She's really awesome, because I was kind of depressed in there all the time. And then she was just like, no, let's go. And we would go out and, play ping pong and just do all these activities that really got me through that. And I was more involved during my survivorship, But even then, like, it was amazing because I got to meet all these other groups of people that didn't even have testicular cancer, but when I met them, they had similar stories, and it was just a great way to communicate. And you know, when we would sit down at lunch or whatever, it was just great conversations. And then with you, and whenever I have like any pains or any like questions, or if I'm going through anything, you know, the first person I call, I'm like, Ralph, you know, I don't know if you went through this. Yeah, like anything. I like, Ralph, I don't know if you went through this, but you know, my testicle hurts, or you know, whatever hurts. And he was like, you know, I didn't really go through that, and he gives him his input in it. And it just I love to have that communication in that community, to be able to look up to or look for if I'm ever going through a tough time.
I think the thing that got me through it was just family and wanting to be there with my family. You know, at 14, I was in school, and I was out of school, and I was.
Were you like were you uncomfortable that you were gonna have just one testicle at 14?
I never ever, it never crossed my mind, honestly. I know just by talking to other testicular cancer survivors, there's always that thought in their head, or that little idea that eats at them, that you know, you're supposed to have two testicles and you only have one, and that really like lessens your manhood, or you know, being sexually active.
Right.
What is the person at the other end gonna think when they see that you know, you're missing part of your hardware? So
what about growing up? Like, you know, you were 14, you didn't think about it, but then, you know, 15, 16.
Again, it never crossed my mind. I think when I was dating.
Would you mention it right away when you were dating, or would you like keep it to yourself?
I always waited. I always waited simply because I felt like just putting this big thing out in the open like that was like the thought in my head was I want to keep this as lighthearted as possible and not put extra strain in this, because at 16, when you're, you know, out there and dating and talking to boys, girls, whatever it is that you're into, like you want to keep it fun and casual and flirty, and you don't want to be like, hey, I had cancer, like I'm missing a testicle kind of thing. Like yeah, but I mean that's the way I approached it. How did you approach, you know, that those later teen years, being sexually active, you know, and missing a testicle?
I was a little bit more the same as you. I never really like, I've always been really open about it, you could say, because I never liked the idea that not that many men were comfortable talking about it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, when I decided I was gonna be comfortable about it. When you're a young adult, you're 18, 17 years old, and you're on dating sites, you know, you got some girls that are asking for nudes and whatnot, and I would get uncomfortable because I have a really big, you know, the scar that it leaves when you get that testicle. You know, you can't crop that out. Yeah. So I would like, one time, the first time like I did it, I was just like, I sent a text right out there, and I was like, you know, I'm sorry, I have a really big scar. And the girl, she wasn't even like worried about it. She was like, oh, don't worry about it. I was like, cool. So after that, I guess I was just more comfortable. Like I was like, you know, if she didn't worry about it, then nobody is. So I started just talking about it. Like when I would be in groups with people or with girls or whatever it was, I would even joke around. I'd be like, oh yeah, you know, when I had cancer, and then people would be like, oh wait, what? And then I'm like, yeah. You know, when I had testicular cancer, I only have one ball. And I would just keep the conversation going. Like I wouldn't like stop and, you know, think about it like, oh, they must feel awkward or whatnot, right. You know. So I think it was very like fluent, you know. As
how do you approach it now then? How does the conversation flow when you have to bring it up?
It's because I just brought it up the other day at a gas station, and it was like a really funny moment too, because I don't know, like it was the girl, it's a girl there, right? And I can't remember what brought up the conversation, but I was like, yeah, you know, I had testicular cancer. And then she said, well, I'm happy you didn't die. Oh so yeah, and then honestly, like, I don't know if like some people take it the wrong way, but it made me laugh because a lot of people are just like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. But she said, I'm happy you didn't die. And it made my entire day. I was so funny that she did that.
So I have three things to say to young men that are watching this video. Number one, really learn and understand your body. You are the best advocate for yourself. You know your body the best. This will really help you down the line if there's something that's not going right, or if there's any sort of side effect, any sort of negative implication that's coming throughout your journey with the cancer, or just even after you've healed and you're doing well and back into life. Being an advocate for yourself is really, really important. Number two, try to find community in whichever way that you can. Cancer in general, but testicular and cancer with men, and just, with my experience in talking to other testicular cancer survivors, there's definitely a stigma about a man losing one of his testicles. And a lot of these men usually tend to feel alone and feel less manly and emasculate, and they feel like they don't fit in, whether it is, physically, sexually, individually, whatever it is. So find community, learn to be okay with your body. And the third thing I got to say is there are a lot of resources out there. Get yourself educated, do pre-screenings, talk to your parents or your doctor about whatever's happening in your body. Just absolutely get educated. It's the best thing you can do for yourself with being an advocate for yourself, and just rock on, kick ass, live life. That's all I got. Live long and prosper. May the force be with you. I don't know. Do we have the rights for this? I don't know. Anyways, Chris, up to you.
All I have to say is, self-exams are very important. When you're taking a shower, the Testicular Cancer Awareness Foundation actually posts a lot about this on their Facebook during the month of April. When you're in the shower, always self-exam. Don't be afraid to touch your own body. Check for tumors, check for swelling. Always make sure that you're doing okay. Even if you think you are. I was a huge athlete. I was eating healthy every day, and a lot of people didn't believe I would be the last person they would think I was gonna get cancer. So always self-exam, and just, I would say this: it sucks. It's a sucky thing to have cancer. Fuck cancer, but enjoy the journey. It's honestly something that you can experience, I guess you could say, only once. And
hopefully only once.
You're gonna meet a lot of great people if you just open your mind to it. Just go outside of your hospital room, meet someone, and trust me, just the conversations you might have, it's gonna change your life forever. And I'm thankful for the people that I've met, the AYA program, and just everyone that has been through my life, that has been through cancer, or has been a survivor, or is going through cancer, has impacted my life completely, and the way I live is because of them. So enjoy it, even though it sucks. Hola, mi nombre es Christopher, soy de Corona, California, y este es mi amigo Ralph. Estamos aquí para hablarles del mes de abril. Es el mes de el cáncer testicular. Estamos aquí para darles un poquito de qué significa eso y de qué es la enfermedad. Ralph.
Hola, yo soy Ralph. Le queremos dar las gracias a Teen Cancer America por darnos la oportunidad de hablar un poquito de nuestras historias con el cáncer testicular que los dos hemos tenido, y más que todo, traer un poco de conciencia a lo que significa la enfermedad. Es algo que afecta a miles de hombres